Okay, so now we're on number 3. It's a multiple choice question. So again, we're gonna start with raise. Smooth it over a little bit. Okay. So we're gonna read our question first. Point W is shown on the number line below. That's right here at -2. The distance between W and X is 8.5 units. Which number could represent point X? Because we're dealing with numbers on a number line, this is a number sense question. Identify key information. Let's do that now. We know that W is at -2. Now, I'm not writing a key information box just because I don't have a lot of space, but W is at -2. That is definitely a very important fact. We know that we're talking about some other point X, and we know the distance between W and that point X is 8.5 units. Now, it doesn't say if we're going 8.5 units to the right or 8.5 units to the left. It does not say that. So that means it could be either one, and we're gonna have to see which of those is in our 4 choices here. So we've got 2 ways we can do this. We can hop on the number line, and if we do that to the right, it would be from here, we're going 8.5 units. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 units, and a half would be right here at +6 1/2. So that is if we're going to the right. But +6 1/2 is not in our choices. So therefore, it's not likely that we're going to the right on the number line. So let's see what happens when we go 8.5 units to the left. When we do that, we go from -2. Let's pick a different color. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a half, a tiny little jump here. That makes it -10 1/2, which is one of our choices, choice B. Now, here's the thing. There's the way to do it on the number line where you're actually showing your hops to the left or the right, but I also want to go over the mathematical way to do this, and you don't have to freak out about the numbers because we're dealing with a mixed number, but what I do want you to do is make sure you know how to use a calculator. If we were going to the right on the number line, it's like adding a value, adding a positive value, and then if we're going to the left on the number line, it's like adding a negative version of that value. In both of these, going to the right, let's start with going to the right. From here, we're going from -2, we're going 8.5 units to the right. We're still starting at -2, and we're gonna add 8.5. If we use the calculator to do this, we're going to end up at 6 1/2, which is exactly where we landed when we use the number line. If we're going to the left, we're going to not add 8.5, but we're going to add -8.5 because we're going to the left. And if you use your calculator to do that, you're starting at -2, you're adding -8.5, and when you do that, you end up at -10 1/2. All of our work here is a strategy that we showed, and E, our main distractor, I would have to say is choice D, and the reason why it's choice D is because a student may have thought that it was +10 1/2 when they got -10 1/2. So let's write that in. Main distractor, D, confused positive with negative. And just like that, we are done with question number 3. Let's move on to question 4. Which of the following situations could be represented by the expression -12 + 12? Again, a multiple choice question, which means we have to show raise. We just read the question. We're dealing with positives and negatives, which means that we are positives and negatives. I don't want to block the negative sign, which means that we're dealing with the number system. I, identify key facts. Really, this expression here is our key fact. There's nothing else really, and all the other information we need are actually in each of our choices. So now we'll go to S, which is to show our strategy. We're going to go choice by choice and see which of these would give us negative 12 plus 12. And we're going to annotate each of the choices so that we know that we end up with this expression. So for choice A, it says Jackie owes $12. That's a negative 12. And then pays back the 12 she owes. Now this is really tricky because she's paying back the 12 that she owes. In order to pay back the 12 that she owes, she has to have 12. And if she has $12, that is a positive 12. So believe it or not, the answer is actually choice A. And to make sure we clearly know the answer to choice A, we're going to go through each of our other choices as well. B is Sarah pays 12, so pays 12 is negative 12, and then spends another 12. That means that she's losing another 12. So this would be equal to the expression negative 12 plus negative 12, which is not what we're looking for. Choice C, there's a temperature change of negative 12 degrees. So it's a change of negative 12 degrees. It tells you negative right there. 2, now this is important. That word 2 means not that it's a change, but that means that that's the final result. So we would end up writing it like this. We're going to have equals 12 total. We have a change of negative 12. What can we add to negative 12 to get positive 12? If you're not sure, the answer there is positive 24, which is definitely not the expression that we're looking for. So it's not choice C either. And choice D, a scuba diver is 12 feet below sea level. So 12 feet below sea level, 12 feet below sea level right away, that's negative 12, and then descends 12 feet. That word descend means to go down, and since we're going down, it means negative 12. This would be negative 12 plus negative 12, which again is not what we're looking for, which makes our final answer choice A. And if we're going to pick a main distractor, remember, for the main distractor for math, it can be any choice you say as long as your reasoning is strong. So for example, you could have picked for main distractor either B or D. I'm going to say D, and the reasoning is going to be a student may not know descend means to go down, so they may think descend means to go up. So thought descend means up, which means positive, and that's not the case. So there we have it. We're done with question 4.